Did you know that heart disease is the #1 cause of death worldwide? And in February, it's Heart Health Month, but it also includes Valentine's Day, which begs the question, can you die of a broken heart? We're going to be discussing that right after this. Welcome, everybody. This is the Life Enthusiast online radio and TV network, restoring vitality to you and the planet. I'm Scott Patton, your co-host, and joining us as usual is Martin Patella, health coach at Life Enthusiast. Hey, Martin, how are you doing today?
It's actually just terrible. Terrible. I have spent a week of administrative overload because I have, Life Enthusiast has a new website, which is a wonderful
Congratulations.
thing. It came with, you know how it is. You know that you have learned to swim in a pool, but now I was tossed into a fast-flowing river. The swimming experience is sort of like in a pool, but a whole different level of, oh dear. So I have worked 14-hour days for the last 7. And
You've been working on this for a year. I mean, this isn't just something you...
Oh, yeah. More than a year. Well, anyway, so here we are. But it just, some of these things just cannot be not done or cannot be done ahead of time. So here I am. And so it just was a whole lot of doing. And it's stressful. And I am definitely...
Are you close to the end?
Oh, yeah, I can see the light. I'm nearly to the other shore, although I'm about 2 miles downstream. You know how you try to cross a fast-flowing river? You're swimming really hard, but it's taking you along with itself. I tell you. It's not easy. It's not easy running a small business, and it's not easy doing it on a budget that's smaller than what the big business could afford. And we're competing with big business doing the big boy stuff. So it's an interesting thing. So speaking of heart, right? So it's stressful. And as I'm thinking about what you're saying, I'm realizing that the most popular time to die of a heart attack is at 9 o'clock on Monday morning. There is actually a spike. It's the statistical spike. And the worst spike is on the day after a clock change, when they shift from to daylight savings time, because you're now not only you're feeling like you don't want to go, but you also have dysregulated your circadian rhythm. You have shifted your time zone, so you're short-slept, stressed, and probably not wanting to be there. And the not wanting to be there is a good enough signal for the subtle energies in the body to say, okay, let us comply. You shall not be here.
Yeah, Martin, how much of people's illness and deaths come from the non-physical aspect of our lives, whether it's our emotional state, our mental state, our spiritual state?
I will surprise you. I will say about 80% of what happens in the physical is actually rooted in the non-physical, in the subtle, emotional, and spiritual. I would say that problems that are not solved on the inner plane within are manifesting in the physical. And I think it's the inner turmoil that's the driver of the problems.
You remind me of my best friend in high school. His dad was a janitor in a school. Did it for 30 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Yeah. And when he retired, he died a month later. So all his life, he was a strong man, never had any problems. was a strong man. He never had any problems. And then he retires, and it's kind of like, I've retired, my life is over. Was just unbelievable to experience, as a young man.
Yeah. Scott, normally I see stuff like Facebook and whatnot in our stream. Have you connected all of those things?
I have.
Okay, great. Well, George, we miss you.
Yeah, no comments so far from anybody.
All right.
Speaking of which, that reminds me, afterwards, we go over to Telegram where we're uncensored, t.me/life-and-co. So make sure that you join us over there when you can.
Yep.
There it is. All right. So today we're going to be talking more on the emotional, mental, and spiritual side of the heart. And of course, we have our heart, we have our heart chakra. You want to talk a little bit maybe about what the heart chakra is for people who may not have heard of it before?
Right. So in the Indian system of understanding the human body, they talk about energy centers, and they visualize them as a spinning vortexial bodies of energy. And so interestingly, in men, they're spinning in one direction clockwise, in women counterclockwise. And we have 7 of them, 7 major ones, and there are the minor ones. Like, they see us as energy centers all over everything. But anyway, the main 7 ones would be the root at the base of the spine, the sacral, which is below your navel. So sacral with your existence. What am I saying? Root based on your existence. Sacral based on your reproductive organs. The next one is solar plexus. That's the one that's in the middle of your belly, the digestion and fire. The next one up is the heart chakra. That's the one that we will highlight today. The next one up is the thyroid, the throat chakra. And then the next one up is the third eye. And the last one is the top, the pituitary, pineal, hypothalamus, the endocrine system direction. And then there, of course, is the number 8 chakra, which is above your head. And that's the one that's connecting you to the universe, or to the force of creation, or to your higher self, or whatever you want to call that.
Right.
Anyway, heart chakra, emotion. The energy.
And people have measured the energy off the heart chakra, right? I mean, these aren't things that are theoretical only. We've had people that have been able to prove scientifically that there's a massive amount of energy coming off of your heart.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There are, I'm going to have to search on it because I thought that I had it handy, but I don't. But emotions attached to meridians.
Oh, okay. So in addition to the chakras, we have meridians running through our body, that, which is why reflexology and some of those other skills are so powerful.
Right. Yeah. So what I started when you mentioned chakra, that's the Indian organization of things. The Chinese organization of things is somewhat different. In India, they talk about 3 doshas, vata, pitta, kapha, as they describe the human variability, variance. In Chinese system, they have put up 5. And in the Western, we usually talk about 4. Then the 4 would be earth, water,
Wind,
and fire.
Air and fire, yeah.
In Chinese, you have metal, wood, air. It's
yeah, they have metal. They have the addition of metal.
Right. Anyway, so interestingly enough, right, like the lungs are connected to sadness and grief, liver is connected to anger, kidneys are connected to fear, spleen is connected to worry, and heart is connected to joy.
Hmm.
And so, do we have joy? Do we wake up with joyful thought on our mind?
Right.
What
Well, Monday
is the
morning most
opposite?
people don't, right?
Yeah, what is the opposite of joy, right?
Yeah.
To me, I
Despair.
think it would be dread or despair. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm dreading doing this. I'm joyfully looking forward to doing this.
Yeah, exactly that.
So our heart and our heart chakra can open. I mean, we feel that, right? When we go see someone
Yeah.
we haven't seen in a long time, it's like all this joy and happiness just flows right out of us, and we feel it from them.
Right. Yeah. And so the interesting thoughts, right? In Western ways, we have come up and started understanding heart rate variability, HRV, which is something that you get to measure either with a chest strap or with one of the rings like the Oura rings or like one of the watches, Apple Watch or stuff like that. And it's watching how the beats are coming in, and you would expect them to be mechanically on the same timeline, but that's actually not how it works. What you really want is a great variability, some beats coming closer and some beats coming farther apart.
And we experience that, right? Whether we are, we're sitting and then we get up and we walk up a flight of stairs, all of a sudden our heartbeat is more,
Yeah,
or we're standing around and a friend of ours or our children come running into the, little kids come running into the room. We have this dump of energy and joy.
Yeah, and you can even skip a beat in fear
You can
or
skip,
fright.
yeah, you see the love of your life, your heart skips a beat.
Oh yeah. And that actually does happen. This is not a figment of someone's imagination. This truly is that it's such an impactful event that it creates an electric event in your body.
Trick is only skip one beat. Don't skip like 10 minutes.
Yeah. That's flatline. The famous beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, we don't want that. We don't want that.
Yep. So it's the the stories as we know them. You hear of people who are perfectly healthy, nothing wrong with them, and then all of a sudden, at 39, they're leaving the planet with a massive heart attack that they don't survive. There are a great many people who just have this electric dysregulation that just is so massive that they're gone.
It's done. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to look after yourself by getting exercise, eating good food, drinking water, all the things, breathing good air, hugging trees, all those things. But you also need to look deep within yourself, and are you living the life that you came here to live? Are you happy in your life? Are you, do you have things that you've not resolved in your life? This is the emotional stuff, the mental stuff that many people just don't want to deal with, right? No, I'm fine, and they're not fine. And what happens is usually you get hints that you need to work on something, and if you keep ignoring them, the hints get worse and worse and worse until finally you're just gone. So you need to take that inner look. I have signs of a balanced heart chakra I'd like to take a second and share, Martin.
Yeah, do that. That's worth
Physically,
talking about.
You have a strong immune system, you have a steady heartbeat, you have good in circulation, and you have a radiant complexion. Like when people are around you, you don't look grumpy, you're not repelling people. On the emotional level, you're feeling love, you're feeling empathy, concern, and you have a relatedness with others. And I managed grocery stores for 20 years, and one of the reasons why I left was I had a couple incidents that occurred that showed me that I had absolutely no empathy. it was just being ground right out of me. And I just
Whoa.
could not handle that. Once I realized that I was right in my face, you were totally unempathetic. And
Meaning to me that you've caught yourself just so emotionally spent that there was nothing left of you to give.
well,
Like that?
I have no problem telling you that I fired a guy 1 week after his father's funeral.
Yes.
So there was no empathy. No empathy. I mean, and it wasn't like he shot somebody. It wasn't like he took $1,000 out of the till or any of those things. You know, we thought he was a bad guy, and he was, but to not be aware. I knew that his dad had died. I knew he'd been to a funeral. Like, you could wait 6 months, right? Or
should you have waited? Is that responsible use of your employer's money?
you can, well, no, but on the other hand, you can have a little empathy for when you do these things, and when doing it when someone's
You should have done it 2 weeks
life.
earlier. Then you should have done it 2 weeks earlier. Then it would have been his father's fault for messing up his life deeper.
Right. Well, if we'd known, we would have. But it was just the timing was really bad. So
Yeah.
we have.
Oh, look.
Speaking of empathy, George has joined us. Welcome, George. Glad to see you. And Kevin also has joined us. Sometimes, yeah, it is difficult to understand, and particularly if the emotional or physical is in the origin.
Yeah.
You know how the third one.
Yeah, you know how the French have
energy.
this. You know how the French have this this proverb or saying, "Cherchez la femme," look for the woman. That's like, when you have a problem, whatever it is, look for the woman. Cherchez la femme. Well, it really should be, look for the emotional cause of this issue.
Right.
Yeah.
And it can be a bit of a detective story. The third one was energy. When your heart chakra is balanced and good, you're feeling lighter, you're more energized, you're able to handle life's ups and downs. And I think most of us are in a position in our lives that we cannot handle the ups and downs. Like, the glass is full and one more drop. No, the camel's at its limit, one more straw. And we just see people unable to handle these situations properly, in the mature, empathetic way.
Yeah. When your cup is empty, it's really hard to share.
Yeah.
All right. So how are we going to help people with this? Well, my take on the world is this: we always have a choice. It's not what happens, it's how you respond to it. And the respond actually assumes that you're not reacting, that you're actually responding. Because if I said how you react to it, you'd be just reacting from the back brain, because your frontal cortex is completely disconnected. You have nothing left. You can't think. You're no different than a dog or a deer reacting to a situation. Whereas responding is that
reaction. Yeah. Get into the respond part. That's important.
Yeah. Responding assumes that you actually have some free will in here. And that denotes that you actually have taken agency over your life, that you're not a victim of a situation, you're an actor in your life. Anyway, Scott, go for it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Reactions is like, the mosquito bites you, you smack yourself, right? And the response is, I don't want to kill anything, then I grab the wing and I pull it off and let it fly away, sort of thing, right? When you give some thought to it beforehand, as opposed to, or even, some thought beforehand, like, what am I going to do in this sort of situation? Someone cuts me off driving. Am I going to honk my horn, yell and scream at them, or I'm just going to make sure I don't have an accident? What is my response?
Right.
So we had talked a few minutes ago about the science of balanced heart chakra. Unbalanced is really easy. It's blocked, so you're feeling closed, isolated, distant nature and others, or overly sensitive and giving out too much energy. So you watch this movie and it has tear jerkers and you're just bawling your eyes out when you wouldn't normally do that. Or you're watching the movie, it's a tear jerker and you're just like numb to the whole thing.
Yeah, numb.
So if you're feeling numb, blocked, overactive, so here's 4 practices that you can do to balance your heart chakra. And some of them are almost cliche-ish. Express gratitude, right? But don't just say thank you, like thank you. Like express that gratitude, express that thanks. Practice meditation. Now, it could be a really fancy meditation, or it could just be a quiet time, right? By a creek in a mountainside with beside a tree and being quiet. Yoga and types of practices like that are good. And taking supplements really can help. Iron, calcium, magnesium, zinc can help you balance those energy centers.
Yeah, let's not highlight magnesium.
Right.
George likes to break.
So important.
George likes to break something. I like working meditations. Like I meditate the best when washing dishes or something that takes a while that I have done before that allows me to not focus on what I'm doing, instead of just focus on being and allowing thoughts to not be piling up. It's just like in India, they talk about, well, just focus on a flame of a candle. So it's moving a little bit. So there's variability and it's not a steady picture. But at the same time, you're supposed to just allow your mind to be on one thing. I like dishes. Anyway, that's my story on that.
Kevin had a good comment. He said, luckily, I took the advice of the Bible about not having the root of bitterness very seriously. So I feel pretty good about that. I mean, I have not been weighed down emotionally. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And I think that's really
that's one of the ways of the Christian faith, is where you take all of your problems and you hand it over to Jesus. Essentially, it's one of the wonderful methods. I mean, it's in India, that's a method of having a guru. You just have either a living or not a living guru, and the guru is essentially the one who's going to take care of it for you. In the Christian faith, it's handed over. It's not something you can manage. You hand it over, and it's fine.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point, Martin. And oftentimes we're in our ego, we're always right. So obviously the other person is wrong and he's going to go to hell. But if you say, I hand it over to Jesus and St. Peter and God, and they will, they're the judge, not me. And whatever will happen to that person will happen. It has nothing to do with me. I just send them off with love. Then if you're wrong, which you could very well be, then, you've given it away with love and you don't have to worry that you were wrong, right?
Yep.
And because it could be you having to explain yourself, not them having to explain themselves.
Yeah.
And
well, as you were talking about the driving in traffic and being cut off, how do you respond to it? Do you want to make a big deal of it or just back off 10 feet?
That's right.
Yeah.
So we only have a few minutes left, and I really want us to talk about ORMUS. This is one of our products that we have. I'm just looking for it right now.
Yeah, that's worth talking about. It is
the Heart Chakra ORMUS. And so, first of all, what is ORMUS, Martin?
Right. It's acronym or a word for the form of material that has been assigned to the group of trans-platinum metals: gold, rhodium, iridium, osmium, palladium, ruthenium. There are a couple others that I can't remember. Osmium, I think, is in the lineup. And all of these, but the most popular of them is gold, rhodium, and iridium. and they exist in a form other than in the metallic form. And the best example I can give you is that carbon you can find in the form of charcoal that you can burn and turn into a barbecue briquette, but it can also exist as diamond that looks like glass. And that is just an example of it. So yellow gold, yellow pliable metal gold, also exists in its crystalline form. And this crystal has a really special characteristic. I think it exists with 1 foot in another dimension, meaning that it's an excellent translator or transmitter of consciousness for it to manifest into this dimension. And so when there is enough of it, and Ormus is found all over the planet in low concentration. It's found in higher concentration in gold-bearing creeks, which to me is a suggestion that the Earth has a core that's actually really rich, loaded with Ormus. And when the stuff is ejected through volcanic eruptions, it comes to the surface and is then spread around the world. Anyway, all plants want more of it. And if they have more, they grow stronger, bigger, healthier. All animals want it. We all want to eat food that has more of it in it. And when we do supplement with it, we are healthier, stronger. We are a better expression of the consciousness expressing itself into this physical world. And so our power to manifest is enhanced. We're stronger in our ability to be alive, to deliver. Anyway, so Scott started about these products that we have in the general category of Ormus, and some of them are specifically tuned. So the gal that makes these, her name is Crystal Nance. She has actually selected these Ormus materials and then vibrationally, with the help of plants, tuned them to each of the 7 chakras. So Scott highlighted the heart chakra, but you can pick your chakra that you want to focus on and go with that. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So what you consume not only impacts your physical body, but it also impacts your emotions, and it also impacts your connection to your higher self, to Jesus and God, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And
the electric body I want to point out has 2 characteristics: the longitudinal wave and the scalar wave. And the longitudinal wave, we understand that's electricity. Those are the transmissions of electric signals. But the scalar wave, that's the wave of the thought and emotion, and that stuff is instant. There's no timeline for that. And thoughts and transmissions, and not existing in a specific time or location. Anyway, I think I've overstayed my welcome. I should be on the other side to welcome our guests on Telegram. So I'll let you close it out, Scott.
Okay. Thanks for joining us, everybody. This is the Life Enthusiast online radio TV network, restoring vitality to you and the planet. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.